So, Nate, hey man, this is debut episode 1, right? Let's see where this goes from here. But dude, I've been impressed by your journey, right? You and I met each other, I believe, the first time that we ever saw each other in person was at a Tulsi Gabbard event. It's funny that she's back in. We kind of had this already planned to do and come together, and then I see her coming up with Joe Rogan. So it's really interesting that here we are finding ourselves back aligned, and yet what brought us together is also back in the limelight. So I can't help but um, see the kind of the higher intelligence at play there.
Yeah, that is, very interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that I was actually just listening to that podcast prior to joining this call. So yeah, I mean, it's all fascinating because, coming out of the spiritual process, it was one of those Bernieites back in 2016 and stuff where you really, I don't know if you were, I believe you were at the
Oh
time.
yeah, oh yeah, I was a hardcore burner.
The same here, man. I mean, I was all about that. And then the thing that I'm grateful most about that whole saga there was it was really an eye opener.
Hey,
And
so real quick, that's really interesting because you almost made it sound like the saga is over. Like it's a saga that you kind of went through, that you kind of triumphed over. Does that sound like the right kind of sound that you gave that to?
it was definitely a chapter in my life. Yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
awesome. Anyways, sorry to cut you off, but I
no,
just
no, no,
I just
no,
want to make
no.
sure that I heard that right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You did hear that right. It was a chapter. I would say the book is not yet over yet, but
Yeah.
it was a chapter. My whole ideology has shifted since then. I wouldn't say that I'm a right winger by any means. I wouldn't say that I'm really necessarily a left winger either anymore. I'm kind of more in that anarchist camp where, I think that it's really pointless to kind of discuss about what kind of change you're going to deliver because the institutions are so corrupted that the whole system needs to be uprooted. There's no election or anything like that. And this also goes for no matter if, for those whose politics lie on the right or the left. I mean,
So without getting too far down the rabbit hole there, I wonder, do you think that there's a connecting element there? Like what kind of drew you to the passion and kind of the beauty and the simplicity of what Bernie was saying, to kind of the simplicity of just like, well, there is maybe a rebooting or something that's necessary. I'm curious, have you been able to figure out where that lives in the Nate Kivani, right, universe?
yeah, yeah, that's a very good way of putting it. I guess kind of more in an existential way is that you started realizing that the world itself is just nothing but kind of like we're living in the matrix. There is a sociological matrix, which is much more of a society structure.
Sure.
And there's also, I would say, more, if you want to say, an existential matrix as well, something more spiritual as well. It's amazing how, life kind of mimics that as well. And you have, different forces at play and such. But I'd say really what woke me up through the Bernie campaign is I always thought that, just organize and you can deliver about change that way. You can win people over with arguments. And then you see everything in real time. You're like, well, okay. Not only did they steal the election from, Bernie at the time, at least per the WikiLeaks email and all of that, but just the way they continually started harassing supporters, unless you were completely on board with Hillary at the time, you were a misogynist or you were.
Oh, bro, yeah, you may as well be trying to ram some sort of like giant ram bone cock down some poor little kid's throat, dude. Like, it was disgusting the way that they just completely alienated people simply because, like, you might question, right,
Yeah.
narrative.
Yeah.
But did you know that because Trump smells like Russian pee, right?
Yeah,
That's why he shouldn't be our president.
he should be our president. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll tell you, early on, I was really amongst the really hardcore anti-Trumpers. I mean, when he first got
So was
elected,
I.
I
So
mean,
was I.
I think we all kind of were kind of like shocked. I think he was shocked that he won,
Dude, he was out of the limelight for like 2 or 3 weeks. Like he didn't know what
Oh,
the hell to do. He didn't expect to win.
oh shit, yeah.
He was trying to create like this whole media infrastructure and just like, and but what's so amazing though, and this is where I'd love to get some of your view, because you've got what seems to me, and maybe I've got a misread on this, but it seems to me like you've got a little bit more scholarly approach to a little bit more of the maybe Eastern ways of the philosophy, whereas I just kind of happen into it, dude, because I like to trip balls and because I just really am a huge philosophy fan. And so I just try, and Sadhguru is a combining element between both of us, it sounds like, which is really interesting again. Which is all about life is about the experience.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't think that anarchy or Bernie is right or wrong, but it sounds like what we're talking about is it's kind of a waking up process. Right. Bernie brought us to a place where we're like, hey, look at what's going on. We're like, oh my God, we can change things. Look how naive we are. But you know what? Just like an infant, just like a little toddler growing up, right? We realize, oh, well, there's more rules to this game than we're led to believe. Okay, so what do we do with that now? Do we just cry and suck our thumbs? Or do we
No.
figure out, yeah, and try to how to, actually affect things for good?
Yeah. 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 What really how it all kind of ties together is it's very easy, I think, once somebody does wake up to the reality, whether it's in the physical world, like for me, for instance, with the whole thing with Bernie and all of that collapsing. I know this is universal. Perhaps you felt it yourself. Is that it's very easy, therefore, to become very nihilistic,
Oh, yeah,
cross that path because nothing else really matters anymore,
right.
and all of
Want to
that.
just burn it all down.
Burn it all
No,
down and
no
all
pun
of that.
intended there, right?
Yeah, exactly. That was actually the mantra, I think, of the actual
Yeah,
campaign back in the
burn
day.
it all down. Yeah.
Burn it down and or feel the burn. But after a while, I'm just like, you know what? There has to be another way to kind of like invest. And I remember hearing at the time I was really going through alcohol abuse at the time, binge drinking on weekends was the first thing I was looking forward to. And I knew something was wrong. And I remember hearing actually another podcast with Joe Rogan, but the guest was Oliver Stone, a filmmaker who I have a lot of respect for. And he said one question that was proposed to him. He said that the reason he felt that a lot of younger people were turning to substances and addictions. And of course, he was a former cokehead himself. He's a
Hmm.
Vietnam War vet. And he said that the reason for that is he feels that there's a big lack of spirituality.
Oh, 100%, man. Well, but not just that. It's not just that there's a lack of spirituality, but you're actually lampooned, especially as a Westerner. If you have any sense of, I mean, here I
Yeah.
am with a fedora wearing a Batman scarf, man. So like, I'm just let my absurdity just fly. Um,
Yeah.
I've got Jocko Willink, I've got Peter Sage, David Hawkins, and then I've also got R.A. Salvatore, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so some of the deepest philosophy and just some really fun, nerdy fantasy.
Yeah. I
Uh,
mean,
because that's part of the awakening process. I mean, even Einstein said that the mark of intelligence is your imagination.
and Einstein was also somebody who said imagination is more important than an education.
Yep.
And it's
Well,
true.
real quick before we go, do you know how he actually figured out the um, his E equals MC squared?
I've never heard the story of how he came to that realization. No.
He was so bored out of his mind. So we forget all this. We always say, "Well, didn't you know? Well, it's okay. It's okay, little Johnny, to be
Yeah.
pumped full of pills. It's okay, little Janie, to be pumped full of pills. Didn't you know that Einstein was a terrible student? Well, what they forget to tell you is that the problem that with a phone and what a phone does now is it robs you of the exact thing that allowed Einstein to come up with what he came up with because he was so bored out of his mind. He was
Yeah.
staring at a clock and just wondering, like, what the hell would happen if I could actually travel faster than the speed of light on this pencil? And he saw the clock going backwards.
Mhm.
And that's how it all started, man.
It just all clicked.
Yep.
I wonder how much of that was actually him discovering it, or better yet, what if he was remembering it?
So to educate means to bring out from within. So yes, he was remembering it. Um, but higher truth has to be discovered. because we have to realize that we've already been there. Because if we really are in the image of God, we just went really deep, bro. We just went real deep. We just we probably left some people, if they're following this, in the dust there. But that's kind of the whole point. Ultimately, we're going to get to that place where like there is no boundary,
Yeah.
right? The fact that you and I interacted together, well, that's because we're the same, man.
Yeah.
If I have deep alcoholism in my family as well, and if I was born in your shoes, well, you know what? My name would be Kivani.
Yeah. I mean, it's just something that's so ever present. You get so many people out there that are really, and they're turning to things, there's a chemical for everything. And then you see, well, the latest studies with the antidepressants and everything, that for years people have been trying to, Prozac was a thing going clear back to even my junior high years. That,
Yep.
they were just liberally giving. I remember
Well, because it's easier to point the finger at somebody else, right?
Oh
Than
yeah.
actually take it that. And so, with you had a point, so go ahead and finish your point because I don't want to derail you too much. But I'd really like to hear a little bit more about. Was there like a coming of age that brought you to Bernie, and then from Bernie that then kind of left you wanting, and then from there, like what picked you up? Because certainly anarchy isn't really where I see you now. Like I can understand like that's your politics now, just because you don't really know where you fit in. But I don't really see like I don't see like this whole destruction and wasteland anarchy.
That's not the anarchy that I represent. I'm more in the mold of like a Chomsky kind of an anarchist and such like that. Anarchy itself is kind of much like socialism. It's been a term that's, I think, been abused and such. What I mean by anarchy is decentralization.
I like that.
I think it works well because spirituality itself is also a very decentralized process, focusing more on the individual, the inner experience, versus looking at some exoteric thing, whether it's, the church that will save you or the cross,
Well,
or
what better way to keep sheep in a pen? Is to say,
exactly.
hey, didn't you know that you're a sinner, so you belong in this jail? And then two, just wait for your savior, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and give all your rights over to the shepherd.
Yeah, exactly.
Wink, wink, right? And
Yeah, yeah,
then go ahead and sit there. Go ahead and sit and wait.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it'll come. They'll come. Here we are 2,000 years later, and it's still coming.
It's still coming. It's still coming. And I think people, I think Sakru in that interview with Rogan, and that was where I really first discovered him. And when he said, heaven is collapsing for people, it's kind of on the same vein of what,
But then why that was a good thing? Because at first I was like, oh my God, is that bad? But it was like, oh, I loved and how poetic, how he responded with that. And if you remember, can you kind of maybe elaborate on that?
Yeah, he said what he stated is that the reason why, he said like 40 years ago or 50 years ago, if you were to go to a college campus and ask how many people want to go to heaven, well, obviously, like maybe 8 out of 10 people would raise their hands and such. And then something on the lines of, if he were to go today and ask the same question, well, he'd be greeted with a lot of, giggles and people not taking him seriously.
Yeah, is this guy even serious? Yeah.
And he says, the concept of heaven, it's a couple different things. First of all, you need to update heaven. He says kids nowadays, and he made the joke, unless it has Wi-Fi, they have no interest in wanting to go there, And another thing is, he kind of, the whole ripping on the thing, like, what are you going to do with 72 virgins if you don't have a body? Something like that. Or are you going to spend your whole time on a cloud?
Right.
Really?
So you're like this light, this beam of light, and you've got 72 virgins of 72 virgin beams of light.
Yeah. So like heaven, okay. It probably needs an update from the 1600s at least, or something, if you're going to make it more appealing to people. But other than that, it's a great thing that it's all collapsing, because the only life that is important is the life that you're living right now. Not the next other, are you familiar with who Osho is?
Osho?
You seen Wild Wild Country, the Netflix special?
I'm sure I've heard of it, but yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of Netflix stuff. I've been balls deep in my spiritual path for the last like 5 months, and pretty much blocked nearly everything out that I don't just kind of normally consume.
Well, Osho, he was at one time known as Rajneesh, and there was a Rajneesh movement of people wanting to build like a commune up in Oregon, and that's what
Okay.
the documentary series is about. That's a whole other issue, but he was like the Sadhguru of our parents' generation.
Mm.
And for a lot of the baby boomers and such, he was kind of like the spiritual guru, and he was very revolutionary. He was known as the most controversial guru because he kind of embraced sexuality instead of like shunning it, which at the time, the baby boomers and all of that, you can't talk about sex, you can't enjoy sex, you can't, none of that, he was kind of the one that called himself a spiritual playboy. Anyway, that aside, one of his, and he said, I was against giving 10 commandments because he says against religion, but he said one of his favorite commandments, if he were to give anyone to anybody, would be, there is no other God other than life itself.
Hmm.
And I love that. The mere existence itself, that is God.
Well, and that mirrors a Taoist philosophy of just the eternal now.
Exactly. It's a very Buddhist concept too. It's like, it doesn't really matter. We're not saying that there isn't, but the only thing that really matters to you is your own liberation.
Well, and then what's beautiful about that is that, unpacking that a little bit more, liberation comes from darkness, man. It has to be discovered. Well, that's Tao. Tao is all about that. That's where everything was born, right? In fact, before the cosmos was brought into existence, right, there was just a perfect nothingness.
Yeah.
Well, and then what we see holding all the galaxies together is a perfect nothingness that we have no idea how to measure. We know it's there. We don't know how to influence. We can see it. We know it permeates us. Well, that's the Tao, man.
Yeah.
And the dark matter.
It's
Dark,
the
dark.
Tao. It's the Tao. It's what some other cultures would describe as Shiva, that which is not.
Yeah.
And then Shakti, the female version of Shiva, is that which is. And so there's that primordial emptiness, and then that energy that springs forth out of it that's within each of us.
And so do you see a common theme in kind of that awareness of where you are now with where you started with kind of like, there was something that led you to Bernie. It was probably like, hey, I want to help. But kind of like
I
in the
think I was caught up at the moment, the
with that.
zeitgeist of the moment. I saw how a lot of my friends who at the time obviously I was very much a Politico at the time. I was very much even prior to Bernie, I was very much an Obama guy. I helped.
You start helping by figuring out who you oppose. Basically.
Exactly. I mean, my political activism started back circa 2003 because I was very against the Iraq war, and I got involved a lot that way. It was with the Howard Dean movement. So
nice. I was in the Iraq war, so that's awesome.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it just feels crazy that it's like 20 years ago now, because it's just like, for me, just feels like, the Green Day album came out,
Dude, I know, man. Dude, 8 days. Dude, 8 days before September 11th. Or sorry, 8 days before I deployed to my first war zone. September 11th happened, man. It's like, what the fuck? Like, we had all of our shots, we're ready to go. Like, yeah, we're going to Kosovo, right? And like, what do I know about a Muslim nation? I didn't even look up, other than that they spoke a different language. I didn't give a shit. But all of a sudden, I'm supposed to be immediately afraid. Well, wait a minute.
And there's a correlation there with what happened with COVID, because COVID is another part of that whole evolution for me recently, other than the whole.
Okay, so do you think that you would have seen and we'll get to that evolution in a little bit, but do you think that you would be able to connect the dots that you're connecting now without first getting to Bernie? And the reason why I keep kind of harping on this, because so many people be like, yeah, Bernie, fuck Bernie. And like, I kind of feel that way in my heart a little bit, because, I have a little boy who's also a little bit, who's left wanting, who wanted to see the establishment burn to the fucking ground. You're fucking right, I did. But at the same time, he led me to exactly where I needed to be, man.
And that's always the way to look at it. I personally don't dislike Bernie. I get where he's coming from, but at the same time, I don't think he is the leader for the moment.
I agree.
I don't think he wants to be the leader.
He doesn't. He even says, like, that's why he keeps saying, "Not me, you."
He told one of my somebody who's one of the people who's responsible for my secular awakening is Christopher Hedges. Also happens to be a Presbyterian minister.
Yeah.
And he said that in one of his interviews there with Bernie, this is shortly after the WikiLeaks, dump, and when we found out all the revelations behind the Clinton campaign and the DNC and all of that Bernie said, you can really fight this for. He says, hey, I don't want to turn into the next Ralph Nader.
Yeah.
Well, okay, well, maybe we need another Ralph Nader. What's wrong with Ralph Nader? And maybe
So,
he wants it because he likes his Senate access. He's got a Senate seat. So if they were to go ahead and take away his, assignment committees and all of that, but at the same time, that's the calling you take. I mean, what?
oh yeah. Well, have you ever seen a Nikolai Tesla before and after picture?
Oh, I've seen the after pictures.
Nikola
Not
Tesla.
yeah.
Yeah. And just how like playboyish he looks like before and after he's gaunt. He was starved, penniless.
Yeah.
Every little thing that he tried to give, well, was that from him, right? Because right, I believe it was JP Morgan he was working with.
Mhm.
And they said, well, hey, that's cool that you have this free energy. So how do we actually go ahead and meter it? So we can charge these motherfuckers and make some paper money. Well, he's like, well, what?
Yeah.
What a low vibration you come from. And they're like, oh, well, let me show you how low this goes. And they basically just, strangled him and strangled out his resources and didn't allow, and every single bit. I mean, the guy through like 300 years before, I mean, like hundreds of years before, he created a cell phone. It was like, maybe 200 years before, figured out what a cell phone was, knew that we are going to have it in our breast pocket, just something tiny, a supercomputer, figured out the way to
0
bring
point
energy. Right, the Tesla coil, right? I mean, we have the most brilliant scientist alive right now, likely Elon Musk, right? Named his and consequently, yeah, maybe he's a douchebag, maybe he's not. But he's also giving all of his patents away for anyone else to recreate. And so that sounds like a greater good. And so this is something that I like. And so that also kind of helped me. And what I liked about Bernie is that he was grumpy as fuck. Like,
I love today it's disgruntled like that. And
take me as
I
I
just
am.
wish that he would have kind of kept it up. He was kind of that was my frustration is that he kind of was too willing to give up too easy. And
Oh,
in
of
the
course.
process, he kind of
Because
turned
then
his
that he
back.
can only have teeth when it comes to the Republicans. But when
Yeah.
there's the Democrats, he can kind of get there. But the thing is he doesn't want to be floating around in the Hudson River, man.
No, he doesn't. And, he doesn't want to lose his Senate seat. I mean, I think that's basically what it comes down to. And that's what he means by he doesn't want to turn into the next Ralph
Yeah,
Nader.
that's exactly what it means. He doesn't want to be ostracized. He doesn't want to be ridden
He
out.
doesn't, yeah, he likes being one of the inside people, but he's not.
Yeah.
That's the irony of the whole thing, is they'll keep him at bay. They'll keep him close enough. The same way they, manipulate the gang and the squad or whatever they
Oh
call
yeah.
it,
Yeah,
AOC.
whatever the fuck they are now. Yeah.
They basically have rendered them a joke, especially AOC, who's just nothing more than a celebrity these days. I mean, what has she done of anything worth of value other than just go attend a gala? And everything that they all double down on is always catering to this cultural identity, which is the only thing. Even on the right, that's what they do. When they
You know
can't
what?
do
Come to
else,
mention that, I don't believe that you introduced yourself with your pronouns. So I might actually have to like let a motherfucker know, man. Like somebody better be canceling Nate.
just,
Yeah.
just in case anybody's curious, it's he, him.
I could give a shit less, man.
I don't care.
There's something so liberating about that. And in fact, what's interesting is that in my spiritual awakening, right? So I met Bernie. In fact, I actually, I ended up volunteering for Bernie. I ended up getting his notes because he came, yeah, man, he came here. Like I got his freaking notes because I was working with people behind the scenes, and like they knew how much I loved Bernie and how much of a diehard I was, and even though they didn't necessarily like how vociferous I was about it, they really they could see the beauty there. And that's what's really interesting is that if you think that not you, Nate, but you as in proverbial, ether, you, that what we see is actually what's happening, well, then we are in for a rude awakening. Because often people who are the nicest to you aren't the loudest.
No.
The people who give you the hug when you need it are the people who show up when you need it.
Mhm.
And the people who are there the loudest are just to tell you why you're an asshole. Like, what, man? I don't fucking need any more reason to tell me why I'm an asshole. Like,
All I wanted to do was help people, and I don't hate the other side. I've got most of my family that are Trump supporters and stuff. I don't hate.
so interesting. You said the other side. So do you think that maybe that's a bit of a disease that both you and I maybe fall into? Is that the idea that there is another side?
There is another side. Yeah. Well, everything's an illusion, I guess,
Yeah, exactly. It is.
even your own ego itself is an illusion. It's interesting that you said that nothingness, to kind of get back into it, that's the only solution essentially is dissolution. Yeah.
Well, dude, to go within.
Yeah.
Right? That's what every great master, whether it's Shiva, whether it's Buddha, whether it's Lao Tzu, whether it's Jesus, right? They all said to go within. None of them said to read a book.
No.
Even though, and the only reason why Lao Tzu even wrote his book is because apparently, like the lore, as I understand, is that there was actually somebody who's I don't know if it was a guard, but they asked him like, "Hey, master, before you leave and never come back, can you maybe impart your ways of living?" He's like, "Okay, well, here you go, man."
Yeah. There's actually a parable I heard that Sadhguru says on one of his, I forget who it was, but it's one of those from the Brahmin castes, a story where this Brahmin, which is the priestly caste, his whole family, his father, his grandfather were all, of the priestly caste. And, he snuck out to go be educated in all the Vedas and all of this kind of stuff to get an education, and spent 20 years, and they taught him everything that they had to learn. So when he finally learned everything, he went back and his father was waiting for him and said, "You're a fool. You haven't learned anything." He says, "I learned all the Vedas." He's like, "No, no, no. You filled your head full of garbage. You
Yeah.
haven't learned the meaning behind any of that."
But you know what you did, Nate, which is really interesting, especially if you take a step back. I don't know, most people don't recognize kind of the majesty of their own life and the way that things weave in and out. But so many people who are so fucking terrified, man, of making a single mistake, and because of that, they don't even live. Yeah, here you are, brave enough to, yeah, you might say something fucking stupid. Yeah, join the club, bro. Join the club. But you know what? You're no longer an alcoholic, man.
Yeah. I
You know
mean,
what? You're on the deepest spiritual path that you didn't even know fucking existed
I I didn't know there was just my
because you
intention.
dared to live.
Yeah, it just was far away from any intention I ever had. And, you know, um, I came across Sadhguru on that. I was reading actually Autobiography of a Yogi, which really is a powerful book. If anybody who's listening or anything has ever read it, or if anybody's been thinking about it, definitely read it. It's hard for me to actually pick up a book and be so immersed into it. But Paramahansa Yogananda's book, Autobiography of a Yogi, really popularized yoga in the West.
Mm.
And the book itself is said to lead you to your guru. If Paramahansa isn't your true guru, that he will lead you to your true guru. And sure enough, I met Sadhguru, or was introduced to Sadhguru, and started just listening to him. And then it's just like, I can't get him out of my head. Like I tried going and looking at other gurus, other spiritual paths, started reading, but something keeps pushing me in that direction.
Well, and you know what's really cool about that too is that I found something very similar. You could almost say that I fell under his enchantment. And what's interesting about that is I ended up, my master now, who taught me actually how to be a spiritual healer. His name is Ed Stracher.
Okay.
But when he first started talking, man, I thought he was bizarre as fuck. I was like, what the hell is going on here? Left is right, up is down, black is white. What, man? What?
Yeah.
What? And then out of my right ear, I still remember, man, audibly, like I can almost guarantee that if I had a recorder at that second, I would have heard Sadhguru's voice say, life is about experience. But he stopped because what is he always followed up with? isn't it? Because it was up for me to say they isn't it.
Yeah. And I
And then
love it.
once I followed up with Ed Stracher, man, I took a Navy SEAL through a healing meditation. The dude within
Yeah.
an hour, like his arthritis was gone. 3 days later, he said, "Hey man, I'm in the gym. Look at this. I'm putting weight up."
It's amazing what the mind is capable of doing, right?
Well, when the spirit allows, because when your spirit is being drained, right, by all the bullshit around you, which is why you're not supposed to allow to, you're not allowed to have a spiritual path, which is why you were immediately lampooned in the first place and made fun of.
You're
Oh, look at
lamp,
this woo woo dumbass. No, that's actually what's most important.
you
That
know,
is
you
so
are
much.
lampooned. And it's kind of ironic, I'm by no means a prude by any means, but it feels like the only socially acceptable drug that the only time it's a problem is if you don't partake of it is alcohol. If you don't partake of it, then
And what is alcohol called? Spirits. Because
spirits.
you're literally getting possessed by something that is not you, man.
And
You're, and
I,
that's exactly why, because THC, cannabinoids have been shown to help enlighten. You know,
yeah,
and alcoholism will destroy and create a lower vibration. Well, a lot of times, if you're allowed to not just be fed a bunch of actual like food, like gross food that brings you down, but if you're
mhm.
actually fed nice, nutritious meals, I've never had a better life in my life.
I
I've
think this kind
felt
of goes
better in
back
my
to,
life is when I smoked weed every single day, and I
yeah.
just had the right nutrients that I needed.
I think that kind of goes back to the whole kind of like the awakening thing and being in the matrix. That's how the repressive forces, I think in Gnosticism, they call them the archons, the oppressive forces, whether they be spiritual or in the real world, they keep you, the food we eat, you can look at pictures of like back in the 70s and look at a beach, nobody's overweight, you compare it to like what it looks today. And it's just because
And
what
and
we
and
eat,
what was going on then? Well, it wasn't the war on fat,
no,
right? Because we all knew that you shouldn't over abuse sugar, but sugar's where the money's made, and it's all the wisdom that we need is always in front of us, because evil is stupid. It can't help but show us the path out of it, but we're just so enamored with
mhm,
looking at what's in front of us
yeah,
that it's so hard for us to pull and take a step back
exactly.
and see the whole picture.
Exactly. And we're just keep getting immersed into it. So everything, not only from what you ingest from your media, the news you consume, uh, the music there, or anything that you listen to, the podcasts or anything like that, the food you eat, to the menial jobs that you work, it's all supposed to be there to keep you entrapped.
So you
And
want to hear something really cool? You ever heard of ketamine therapy?
oh yeah, I've tried it.
Oh, have you? Oh, really? Before I get into my experience, I want to hear your experience,
Well, this is I
if you're
think
okay with sharing.
yeah. That's no problem. Thanks for asking. It was, again, I was trying to at the time. This was August of 2019. So this is just prior to COVID. That the summer and the fall prior to COVID hitting, and I was going through a mess. And I saw a sign on one of the billboards that says "Try ketamine for depression." And I did some research on it.
Ketamine, and where was it? In Utah still, or were you
Yeah,
actually?
this was in Utah, I believe.
Was this ketamine SLC?
Ketamine SLC. Yeah,
Fuck yeah, man, that's where I went to.
great, great doctor.
Yeah,
That
100%, dude. That guy's awesome.
oh yeah,
Let me look up his information. Actually.
because I think he offers the lowest cost point
Yeah,
in in like the country at the time. He prided himself on it.
dude, he was being sued by the FDA. They were constantly trying to shut him down, dude. It was insane. And here's this old guy who was a former ER doc, if I recall.
He said
Um,
that the reason why is that he said ketamine saved his daughter's life, and that's why
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Fuck, why can't I find his name? Yeah. I'll make sure and add it. If I don't want to detract from the
Sure.
conversation too long, but I'll make sure and add it to the post description,
And
because I actually met that guy. He had two dogs that unfortunately post
yes.
pandemic he can bring in, but it was Tank. Tank was the big one, and then the other one, I can't remember what the other one was. tanking some anyway.
Yeah.
And so that ketamine experience, what I felt, man, immediately. Um, and what's amazing is that in the same way that you awake, well, what you see now, well, the exact same thing can be the exact same, events, even if it's not the event, it's still
Mhm.
the orchestration of events. And so I saw a myriad, almost like just a waves and waves of these weird textiles, and I felt myself getting plugged into them. And
Mm.
what I thought was just my neural. Okay, well now, because this is how my mind works. Well, so ketamine, what's it doing? It's basically unraveling me to see where I kind of exist between my nerves. And so this is kind of how I saw that wavelength there. Um, and then I mean, I saw it cascading. I saw myself, getting reintegrated into the process. Part of how I became so powerful, I believe, is because I knew that I wasn't somebody who needed to be fixed. I knew that if I were going to find this magic to where I could find this in between space,
Mhm.
well, let me go ahead and seed it with other magic now that I'm here. So when I find it again, I can just start ramping it up and ramping it up and ramping it up. And so that started around the same time you did in 2019. It was definitely 2019 that I was. So it's funny that our paths align so similarly. Um, and but now I find that instead of just my kind of my neurons or just my nerves and how my nerves fall together within my the body organism, well, now I see how my voice gives to the body politic, or how my life can give to the entire organism structure, right? And just kind of and so now I see, oh, right, the tree branch, as you see the shapes, well, it's the exact same shape inside our lungs, because that exact same thing is occurring. And so I was actually able to see that as I was undergoing ketamine therapy, and it brought me out of the bullshit. um I was still very much enamored in politics. I didn't know anything better. I didn't have anything to take me, anything further, but I wouldn't be where I am now without it. So ketamine, man, yeah, probably saved my life.
Yeah, just talking about your lungs there and all of that, I just thought of that thing, as above, so below,
Yeah.
it's amazing how nature just mimics itself from the macro to the micro.
Well,
Uh,
because why would you reinvent the wheel? Right. I
and
mean, again,
I
the
don't even
higher wisdom
consider,
is all around us.
I heard something the other day, and of course you can use psychedelics and you can abuse them as well too, but I don't consider psychedelics to be drugs. For me, these are what historically they're really kind of like portals into like different dimensions of existence and stuff. And they can be really healing if you can appropriate them the right way.
100%. I think where there might be a little bit of danger is that, especially with Westerners, we just all want to be so smart, and we all want to be like, oh well, what was it? C.G. Jung talked about shadow. Oh, must be this person who says that they have one foot in the light and one foot in the dark. Well, you know what? I know one person who's got a foot in the light and a foot in the dark, and put a fucking dagger in my back. So, and so spiritual path, the shadow is really just what you oppress and
Yeah.
what you reject from yourself, and not really the darkness, right? Let the Tao, let the Shiva be concerned with whatever evil there is, because because the fox wouldn't exist without the hen,
No, yeah.
and the hen wouldn't exist without the fox.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is I think it's great because I've had friends right now just message me the other day and said, I feel my life is going nowhere. What do you do and stuff? And I said, well, have you tried psychedelics? Because this is my former boss at one of the companies I was working with. And when I was working under him, I was one of the only ones that knew that he was high every day, not high on, he was high on prescription killers, and that helped him be a lot more efficient at his job.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
so hard,
COVID and
man.
everything, he moved and he's down and he's like being sober. And he's like, this is just killing me. I hate this
Yeah.
job. I hate what I'm doing. I feel like I'm in a rut. He's like, I've got some guns. He's like, I know I'd never do it, but the thought I would be lying to you, but it hasn't crossed my mind. I said, dude, go try ketamine. Go there right now. I looked it up in Vegas where he's at. I'm like, there's this place right here, this center right here that you can go try it. I said, you've already done the hard stuff there, the opiates. I mean, this stuff will just go in. And I said, what do you really have to lose? And what do you have to gain from it?
And it's really interesting. And I didn't, there's no way for me to know like where this path would take me.
Yeah.
But I realized that following ketamine was step one for me to realize the path of Jesus, the path of Buddha, to go within,
Mhm.
and to cut everything else out, because it's a dissociative. It
Mhm.
disassociates everything. And you were so tripped out of your fucking gourd, man. And so there was one time, because of my politics and because of just where my heart is, and even if I maybe I have a bad idea, or maybe I'm an asshole, right? Maybe I say things now not necessarily the right way, but I was tripping balls on ketamine there at Ketamine SLC, and I was listening to Serge Tankian, man, because I fucking love his message. But the thing is, it's so chaotic. I
Yeah.
didn't remember a fucking thing about the trip, but you know what it felt like?
Hmm.
It felt like I walked into a room, and when I walked out, God gave me a hug, man. And I just wearing a blanket given from God. And
You know,
does it even matter what I remember at that point?
that definitely was the turning point for me. That's when things were really seated there. It was dormant for a while, especially going through COVID and all of that. But I kept going back to thinking how I felt going through that whole 6 treatments, I think it was. And at the time, it really helped with my alcoholism. But then the high kind of goes down and I didn't go back, and stuff. And COVID came. And again, this is also kind of go back into where like the anarchy and stuff like that comes in. I just see like how easy it is for misinformation to get out there. And people fall into the trap of just trusting blindly authority. And to see how some people could be just completely deemed. I mean, you saw what happened to Joe Rogan, for just daring to take ivermectin, which by the way has tremendous human applications. It's not just
Yeah.
horses.
Yeah, dude, any serious person who has any issues with ivermectin likely wouldn't be like they would have anyone who's got any issues with ivermectin would likely have deleted me from their friends
Oh,
list a
yeah.
long time ago. So
Oh, yeah.
like, yeah, man, it's the thing is, the only reason why that was an issue is because the political machine needed to be an issue,
Oh, yeah.
and because it was a spiritual war.
Oh,
And I don't want to get too bizarre on episode one, but there's a lot of really interesting things as far as like, what is the name of the patent program
mhm,
that the FDA employs to
mhm.
actually make its patents?
Okay.
Two, what is the patent number for COVID? Yeah, it's the year 2020, but what is the patent number? And so, look that up and figure out, because again, higher wisdom needs to be discovered.
Sure.
Because if it's not, well, then it's as right pearls cast to swine. So whether it's you, whether it's me, whether it's anyone else watching, right? That's literally, that's how higher wisdom needs to be, and
That's why
Buddha even
sometimes
talk.
the best teachers too don't always give you direct answers like Sakura. Sometimes he'll just walk around and he'll talk parables and you're like, just give me it. And it's like, there's
But
reasons
that's,
for that, it's because he wants you to look
yeah.
within. He'll
Well,
give
and
you
so
stuff, but
and to put a point on that, and then I want to hear a little bit more about what your thoughts are on Sadhguru. So Ed Stracher, who actually taught me how to be a spiritual healer,
okay.
right? I use the word spell. Hey man, I really like these pictures that you're giving me. Like they're infused with they're infused with your energy. I really like, these spells. He said, hey, don't call them spells. That was it. That's all he said. He didn't say anything else. And I thought to myself immediately, like, huh.
Is he an older gentleman?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was the guy that you probably saw you responding. Yeah. On that.
Oh, okay.
So he totally is like every time I see him flustered, I always think, okay, boomer. Dude, I love that guy so much. I don't know, I could love another human other than my son more than I love Ed. But bro, he and I frustrate each other, which is the beauty of being human, man.
You know,
He's a lion and I'm a badger, man. And that's just what happens, man. That's just what happens.
that's good.
But he had I was going somewhere. I'm gonna trail off. Let me try and get back, and I want to hear a little bit more about your thoughts on Sadhguru,
Sure.
and really kind of where Bernie's kind of, maybe you felt like you were a funeral pyre, that in just like the last little wisps of smoke, you're like, well, what the fuck am I gonna do? And like, what was it that Sadhguru found?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for asking that. Kind of like to go back out of that whole thing. I felt that Bernie was robbed. And so being really endeared to Bernie going into 2020, I was all raw again for 2020. Although I know that he still had a following, that it still wasn't going to be as strong as the 2016, thing. And at the same time, coincidentally, I was also very much appealed to Tulsi Gabbard. I love her no nonsense approach.
Yeah.
Love the fact that she has libertarian appeal. I think that that's a big plus. I don't know why people always thought that was a red flag. I'm like, no, this is perfect. This is
Because it wasn't a real red flag. It was what you're the same reason why you're not supposed to be spiritual, Nate.
Oh, exactly.
Not because it doesn't help you, but because it's exactly what helps you.
They want to control it the way you think.
Yeah.
People don't understand that there is literally a war, and this is not just some tinfoil hat conspiracy theory out there. There really is a war going on for your mind. And people want to control, they want to divide people into one of two camps, black and white. You're either team red, you're either team blue. Here's what you're going to believe. This is what this team's going to believe. Meanwhile, who profits out of that?
Right. Well, it's a lot easier for them just to flip a switch and to tell you what you're going to believe than to allow, the pesky thoughts to kind of, well, why would we do that?
Yeah, don't ask about the man behind the curtain. Just focus here.
Right.
And just focusing on the reality that we're trying to absorb you guys in. And I saw what they were starting to do with Tulsi. Some of the vicious things that they did to her. I mean, here she is, a combat war veteran, and they're alleging that somehow she's Putin's disciple.
Dude, and she served in the same war that I served in, right? Iraq war. It's just like, whoa, come on now. Dude, I went and like, I even, looked at her and said, hey, you know what? Thank you. You put up with a lot of shit. And you know what she said? Comes with the territory. And you know what any other politician would likely say? Oh, thank you for noticing.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, you're fucking right. I wouldn't have stepped up if I.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
And the thing is that if you see her on Joe Rogan, that's what you get. That's what I fucking admire about her.
She's just as genuine on camera as she is off with people. And that's, she's not speaking out of two sides of her mouth. What she says is what she really believes. And I don't know if I always 100% agree with everything with her, but I trust her.
Well, nobody does, dude. I don't agree with 100% of the things I said a year ago because I'm not the same person I was a year ago.
Certainly don't. Like I look back at some like Facebook posts and stuff like I did back when I was really the quote unquote proverbial shit lib. And I'm like, ooh, that was cringe. Ooh, God.
But you know why I don't go and erase all that shit?
Yeah.
Because let's assume that, some crazy guy wearing a fedora, with a Batman scarf, actually does help others find a way. Well, you know what? If you're saying crazy shit the same way that this guy was saying crazy shit, sounds like you're on the right path. That's really what I hope to show is just that, look, let's not sanitize where we come from.
Yeah. So I saw what, they were doing with her, and this is when things started clicking off. And then that's when I started like discovering Jimmy Dore as well too. And his I've
been following him since like 2014 or something like that. Dude, I love Jimmy Dore so much. He's such an asshole. So I really can't tune in all the time because it just, I really try to resonate at a very high vibrational state, and he is
I,
not there at all.
I get where you're
But
coming from. Then again, he is a jag-off comedian, so that's kind of what.
well, and that's actually what I love about it, is that if I'm going to be offended,
Yeah,
let me actually have righteous offense. And
yeah.
he's actually a good place to start. But like, hey, if I'm offended by things that like he's not talking about, it's probably A, not important, and
Mhm.
B, if I'm reacting the same way that he's reacting, well then I need to step the fuck back, because
Yeah,
he's paid to do this. And
yeah.
he's already going to tell you straight up, like, hey, I'm glad Joe Rogan's there, because I would have fucking overreacted. I wouldn't have been able to do that. And
And the
so
same.
it, and so I
Yeah.
love him as a barometer.
Yeah, I love him as a barometer. I think when it comes to helping you feel good, and also another inspiration for me on the spiritual path is Russell Brand, man.
Oh yeah.
He's been a revelation, kind of in a spiritual path for me to want to pursue. Also, politically, going back to like the anarchy, the decentralization.
Well,
Uh,
follow his path, man. From
yeah.
a from a playboy to what he's doing now.
Oh, yeah. And he himself is a recovering addict and all of that stuff, and how he's uniting people. And I think that's also why they're targeting him, kind of like.
That's exactly why they're targeting him, because you're not supposed to do things that actually help you, Nate.
No, you're
You're
not.
supposed to eat more shit that makes you fat. You're supposed to do more things that make you miserable. Why? Because there's a few basic needs, in the way that human psychology works. Well, one, we have a need for certainty.
Sure.
Well, what does the media do? Well, they immediately turn that on its head. Well, what the fuck's going to happen with Putin? Well, you better tune in, right, next time, so then we can give you that certainty. Well, another need, that fundamental human need that people have, is a need for uncertainty, right? Which is like variety, man. I can't just have the same fucking dish every day, right? Okay, so now media is giving you both of that. Um, but what they rob you of is any sort of like challenge, right? Because you need to have something that actually challenges you. And why? Because, dude, that's the language of the soul, man.
Yeah.
The soul steps up when you're fucking challenged, which is exactly why you can, or how rather, you can see that you're a spiritual war, because the softer you are, the more malleable you are, and the less you're able to fight in a spiritual war.
And the easier you are to be distracted as well,
Oh,
too.
100%.
And that's one thing why Sadhguru stands appealing to me, is because he challenges me in a way. Like some things he says, like for one thing, vegetarianism in me, if you would have asked me 4 months ago, I would have said, nah, that's not for me. Listening to him, when I go into it, I'm like, okay, he makes sense on this argument. I'm going to give him that,
Yeah.
and then, and
That,
so
that's
like,
literally, dude, that's everything that Sadhguru has done for me has
yeah,
started with that. Hey, this makes sense. He says life is about experience.
yeah,
What if I assume that this guy, who sounds like he's smart,
yeah.
that maybe he knows something I don't?
Hmm.
And as I was mentioned, oh, that's what I was going to talk about with the ketamine, is that what it started off in, that introspection, is that it helped me realize, and this is something I just kind of formulated in the last couple of weeks, is that was the path that started on my reverse engineering that Jesus isn't the moron.
Hmm.
And if I actually start at him and Shiva and Buddha and Lao Tzu, Kuan Yin, whatever, yeah, whatever master that you follow,
Yeah.
if you start with them as the answer and work back from their logical conclusion, because we already know that theirs works,
Hmm.
and I've got ample evidence that mine up to this point hasn't worked. Oh, but didn't you know? Yeah, they just didn't know what I know. And so it really helped me get oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So
Yeah.
I no longer have to be this guy who just talks about, hey, pull your head out of your ass. I can actually be the guy who actually pulls his head out of his ass.
And there is, it finally was this year where I finally understand the adage, if you really want to change the world, look inward.
Yeah. Change
Maybe
yourself.
before, I kind of passively understood it before, as I think most people do. Looking back, like, okay, well, you're better to your neighbor, you're better to your dog, you start a
Yep.
slice. But it actually
Yep.
goes deeper than that. It's far
Yep.
deeper, because as we're just talking about, as above, so below, Sadhguru says, inside of you, there is an internal cosmos.
Yep.
And what happens in the external world around you is also what's going on inside you. So to help things externally, look inward.
Yeah.
You purify if everybody in the world did this, we'd have world peace.
Well, because what happens is, like, if you have chaos around you,
Yeah.
it's because you have chaos inside you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so your outer world actually follows the inner world. Why am
As
I not
God saw the
happy?
world.
Yeah. What was it? Sadhguru. So Sadhguru told me, and I thought he was fucking crazy, but I couldn't help. But my heart knew. My heart knew he wasn't crazy. My brain thought he was crazy. But he said that I could just decide to be so happy I could close my eyes and cry tears of joy. Well, I started following him, what was, maybe March or something, like, of this year. It wasn't that long ago that he was on Joe Rogan. And I started following him pretty hard, or maybe it was January or something. And then I kind of fell off and then kind of came back on. And then I heard him talk about, because I was like, what was he talked about Devil's Tower? Because I always wanted to, see
Oh,
Devil's
Devil
Tower.
Tower. Yeah.
And so he talked about, going there on a full moon. So I listened to what he said, and he said that it's the most throat chakra energy he's ever felt in his life anywhere in the world. And I'm somebody who obviously has no problem talking. I also, have had, several editorials published in our newspapers here in Utah. So, that's, still stems from the same energy, right? And so I figured I could get monumental benefit from there. And so again, what if these people who make so much sense, what if I start from their conclusion and work backwards? I found myself, man.
Yeah.
I found myself. And then I literally was on a rock looking up at, I guess my eyes were closed. I wasn't looking up at shit, but I was crying, man. Here I am, wearing this, bundled up, tears just running down my fucking face. Probably look like a crazy person. They're in northern Wyoming. Just some white guy. Like, what the fuck? White guys aren't supposed to come here and do this. Yeah, man.
Did
Like,
you
wait,
you felt a presence there?
dude. So I saw a rock
Mhm.
that said, "You should sit here," and I said, "No, I shouldn't," because I second guessed myself. And then because I was tripping balls at the time, I was like, "You know what? I should sit there. I should. Fuck these people. Fuck anyone else." And these people is really what's inside my head. My manifestation of what I think people will say. And part of what helped me get there was Peter Sage, my current mentor. Talks about getting out of goop, the good opinion of other people.
Okay.
Exactly where Democrats and Republicans will have you swimming. What was a goop? Save you, Nate. Right. And so here I am wearing this hat, wearing this fucking scarf. Dude, who gives a fuck, man? Crying, looking like a crazy person, man. And the second I sat down, dude, the fucking second I sat down, I felt this energy swell. Like, what the fuck, dude? This is real. I was crying. I felt this existential, like, holy shit, Sadhguru's not a fucking idiot. I'm the idiot. What? And I found myself, if anyone's ever done LSD, you're not really, your legs are really wobbly, very wobbly when you're tripping balls. And
Yeah.
here it is, there's snow all over the ground, all over the ground. It's fucking bitter cold, and it's all slopey and shit. I slipping all over, dude. I walked like 14 miles that day,
Wow.
tripping more balls than I've ever tripped in my life. But I've never felt anything that magical before, man, ever. And it all started by assuming somebody who made so much sense, I didn't just dismiss them, man.
Yeah.
I listened to what they had to say.
Yeah. Yeah. There are people out there. I mean, actual true guys out there, and by their fruits you shall know them. It's I'm really looking forward to that inner engineering retreat here. And
Yeah, tell me about that. Did you so you read the book, I'm assuming, and then that led you to him, or like how did that all work out for you?
From being introduced from the Rogan show.
Yeah, just like how, yeah, what was the logical chain of events? Kind of clue us in there on like how did that happen? You saw Sadhguru on Rogan, and then now you're signed up for the inner engineering
Well,
course.
the first time I actually saw him, I think was a little bit earlier in the year. I was just I was at the gym and I was looking for something on YouTube to listen to. And the side note, I do have a fascination with UFOs and, all of that kind of stuff. And was looking for a good UFO video to
I
watch.
knew I needed a reason to silently judge you, so thanks, man.
Thanks.
Nobody needs a reason to silently judge me. You can judge me out loud.
And so I was listening to it was one of those shorts, a reel or something like that. And it was like this Indian guru who was talking about like one temple near Mount Kailash and how they think ancient aliens or something like that. Like, I just want to hear what he has to say. And he said, to the effect of like, he thinks that he doesn't want to give the aliens the credit for man-made stuff. And I thought, his voice, there's just something about him. And then I just kind of compartmentalized it. And that was probably back May, April, something earlier on the spring. And then I think for whatever reason, I was going through, I just moved to Austin, Texas, just bought my new home here, first home I've ever owned.
Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. And moved out here. I feel amazing. I love it. But then started feeling just a little bit alone, born and raised in Salt Lake. I just didn't have like my network of people here as much. And so I just kind of was feeling a little bit of, alone. And I don't know what it was, but I was thinking back to missing yoga and some of the classes I took back in college and stuff. And I remember one of the professors says you need to read a book called Autobiography of a Yogi. Well, my ADD and stuff, I never bothered to pick it up.
Scrolled it away, and then
another way. Spirituality is just not for me. Not for me. I've been a Mormon missionary once upon a time. Just, it's not for me, And so, but then I had a lot of respect for it. And I was just really feeling down, like, they say this book really does help people and it helps change lives. I'll just pick it up and give it a try. Picked it up a few chapters in, and I just could not believe what I was reading. I just thought I'd have no interest in reading a 500-page book about some Indian mystic. I just had no interest in it,
Sure, man, because why would you, right?
But
That's
then I was just feeling so down. I'm like,
marketed to you.
I was just like, you know what? I've heard that this book has been so inspirational. It helped inspire the Beatles, Steve Jobs, apparently, love him or hate him, whatever. He felt so moved by this book. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just give it the book.
Well, don't, and just real quick, Steve Jobs, what has he done? So this book, what has Steve Jobs done? Well, Steve Jobs was influenced by the book. So, right, if you don't agree with him, well, then do what you agree with and just use that influence. But anyway, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. In fact, he was so moved that he reportedly gave or had a copy of the book distributed to everybody in attendance at his funeral. That's how moved he was. And
who was that?
Steve Jobs.
Really? No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Made sure to have a copy of it distributed to everyone in attendance.
So he was living that book every day.
He said that was the only book on his iPad that he kept, and he'd read it at least twice a year. And so, and I read it, picked it up, and I'm like, I'll just have no interest in this. Okay, I'll just pick it up one chapter in, and was like, for somebody who wrote a book and English is not their first language, this book is just the prose and everything in it. It's just so beautiful. It's like poetry. And then you read it, and then you get so engrossed into the character and like what goes on like in his day life, or like what puts him down into his spiritual journey. And the book is just so beautiful that I remember putting it down, like, I don't know if everything that he's saying that happens, there's a lot of amazing things that happen, borderlines, supernatural. People can believe it, not believe it. I started thinking, I'm like, you know what? I want this to be true.
Yeah.
Like, I just want this to be true. And I just remember thinking to myself, if this is true or something, I just hope I find someone that can lead me down this path, because I don't know where I'm starting.
And so that led you to Sadhguru, and effectively that's kind of where is that kind of where you are now? Is that
that's where I came across the Joe Rogan. I just came across the Joe Rogan clip, and I said, "Oh, Indian mystics." So that's when I just started listening to it, and then everything about it, I just could not get enough. This is all back in August. I've already read 2 of his books. One on death, which is amazing, and then another one on Adi Yogi Shiva. And then I've listened to a lot of the Inner Engineering book as well. And as much as I try walking away, saying I'm going to just take a break, stuff on spirituality is getting a little overwhelming. And I'd find out that as soon as I took a break, it was almost like an addiction. I just had to keep going back and seeing like, what else could he have to say? What other, podcast was he on? And I just found out I was just getting really so immersed. I could not walk away from it, even when I disagreed with them.
So I don't know whether I agree or disagree with that language, but let's actually play with that for a little bit, because
Sure.
a lot of time, we really do play with the idea of addiction, and whether it's good or bad. So let's say that we can't help but be addicted because, right, the whole point of our chemistry is to be
Mhm.
able to be programmed, right?
Sure.
And so an addiction may actually be, right, where you need to be enamored to help, right, to
Sure.
then bring that organism to the
Sure.
highest state.
Sure. Sure.
And
Yeah.
so when you started, tailoring away from that,
Yeah.
right? Well, hey, how come my nutrients? How come I'm not getting the nutrients that I need? Oh, right. And so, I mean, when you
And I
kind of
try.
take a step back, it kind of makes sense. I mean, what would a flower ever say? Hey, I need less sun, unless it just is actually in its makeup.
Yeah. 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 I just felt magnetized to him, even as I was exploring other masters and stuff like that. I guess in a crude way, you could say I was trying to guru shop, a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
But at the same time, as much as I started respecting so many other masters out there, so many like Muji, I love listening to Muji Baba. I love some of the other Kira masters that I was listening to that are a little bit lesser known, that don't have as big a following. Something about Sadhguru. And I remember something he said about choosing a guru. He says, when you decide a guru, just don't settle on one that's going to feed your ego, make you feel all special, warm and fuzzy. Find a guru that challenges you, that makes you uncomfortable, but not to the point where you get up and leave, to the point where
Yeah.
you can't get up and leave.
Yeah.
And then I just can't shake him. I don't, like, he says some stuff that sometimes I don't feel comfortable with and stuff like that, but then it's just like, I keep coming back to it.
So, Sadhguru, I feel the exact same way, but I feel that exact, like, rather, I guess I did feel that way. I'm not quite as deeply for Sadhguru, but now, like my current spiritual path with Ed Stracher,
Mhm.
dude, that's exactly how I feel. Like the guy, like he he just does not give a shit about political correctness, and it's so
I love
funny.
that.
Give me more, man. Give me
I'll
more.
have to,
Oh, fuck. And so he's actually having a Facebook Live like right now.
okay.
And so if you check him out, like you'll see that he responded to that conversation, that long diatribe I had about my magical experience. And so you'll probably see that he says some things that may actually, especially if you really like Sadhguru, might make you want to jump in front of a bullet, going to save Sad. But Sadhguru is a big boy,
Yeah.
and so if you see what Ed's saying, I can't find a lie in anything Ed says. But I just am not convinced that Ed's way is the way for everyone. And so that's why I have to live it to figure out, hey, what's Ed's way with my way.
Why do you think
And
some
again, he's the
people,
lion, I'm the badger, man. And a
why do
badger
you
can't
think
help but dig and antagonize.
we're all programmed differently for different
Yeah.
kinds of software?
Yeah.
And what works for some people. That's why, have you read anything by Ramakrishna, or have heard of Ramakrishna, or the Gospel of Ramakrishna?
I've heard of Ramakrishna, but I haven't really read anything or
I've ordered his book. It takes like 2 weeks, even on Amazon, to get a copy of his book, of the Gospel of Ramakrishna. And
hmm.
they say next to Autobiography of a Yogi, and another one called I Am That. They say this one's definitely for any spiritual seeker, is a must read. And one of the first, I've read like the Cliff Notes version of it. And one of the passages, he says that all paths lead to me, or lead to God, or lead to Krishna, or
Which
or
means
whatever.
that all paths either
All paths
lead to
by
death, which
sincere
is
seekers,
nothingness,
by
which is where
sincere
everything is
seekers,
born.
for
Yeah, go ahead.
sincere seekers, all paths. That's why you'll find people from all across the world, different spiritual traditions, completely, you'll find maybe a Sufi here, or maybe a Christian somewhere in Latin America, but they're very saintly people. And it's because the past, no matter what, that's the beautiful thing, is because going back to your masters, yeah, he's a master, maybe for specific people,
Yeah.
and that Sadhguru is not meant for everybody either,
Yeah.
But some people, I think you recognize your master and sometimes you just can't shake it off,
Yeah.
and the goal is the same. They all want to get people to a higher level of consciousness.
Well, and any true master wants you to be, of his loins, which means that you're supposed to do more than I did, man.
Yeah. And any true master leads you only to the true master, the true guru, which is the one that's inside you.
Yeah, exactly. And then you realize, oh,
Because that's the
thanks,
great.
man.
Yeah.
Well, because then they pop, right? The entire illusion just goes. It's like, oh my God. And then there's a curious transformation that starts to take place. It's not something that just happens, right? There's no such thing as that awareness just happening. It's something that just kind of cascades, because then you find yourself thinking back on thoughts that you had even just maybe a few days ago, maybe a year ago. You're like, wow, huh. Well, look at this new level of ripple that's
Mhm.
elevated me. The water, and what's interesting about that too, and if you look at it even more, is that the water itself didn't have to do anything. The ripple was just the energy coursing through it.
Mhm.
And so allowing yourself to be that, that yin, right? And so where did Bernie go wrong? Well, one thing my master taught me, and so here's this guy who's like, this guy will tell you to go fuck yourself in a heartbeat.
I love it when
It,
spiritual masters do
I know, right?
that.
But what's interesting is he'll also, and this guy's got more testosterone than nearly anyone I've met. But he'll say, hey, in a war, yin always over time will win over yang.
Yin will win over yang, or
Every time.
okay,
Every time yin will win over yang. You know why?
defense always the stronger. I don't. I wonder
So
why.
I like where your head's at. But so yang needs fuel, man.
Okay.
Yang is a burn. And yeah, it might start causing some of that water to start to evaporate. But you know
Yeah,
what? Water doesn't need fuel to be water.
it doesn't.
And so if you can find that inner place, well, that's that darkness, right? And from that darkness, like anything can be brought forth. But that darkness isn't evil.
No.
It's just untapped reservoirs. But the
Mhm.
same way that light hasn't reached maybe certain lakes. Okay, doesn't mean that water's worse.
No.
It's still water in the same lake,
It's just on
right?
the.
And so how do we represent that water, right, as we bring it to the surface?
Yeah, I love that.
So yeah, man, my spiritual path has been. I've been a philosophy nerd for a long time. I've been reading Plato, Nietzsche since I was 17. I'm 42 now. I joined the army at 19 because what better environment for a dude who's got an outrageous chip on his shoulder than a totalitarian environment to tell him what the fuck he's going to do every second. And so, but you know what? I had to find my teeth by breaking my teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because I had to figure out, and you know what, the people will find likely that the worst thing that's ever happened to them have been, one, they started it all, and two, it's the best fucking lesson that you could ever have learned. Why? Because, dude, from the age of 19 when I joined the army, 42 now, man, for all those decades, I now have obelisks in time
Mhm.
that I can look to and be like, oh, that's what happens when you think you're too fucking smart, Josh.
Mhm. And then you think of what knowledge you can pass on to other younger people too.
What wisdom,
Wisdom.
right? Because knowledge is just, so that, again, what the spiritual path shows is the true warning of the trees of knowledge in life. Because what Peter Sage, right, my current mentor, taught me is knowing and not doing is the same as not knowing.
Knowing
And
and
so
not doing.
knowing and not doing is the same as not knowing. And so if in our uncertainty, well, what should I do? Well, I should go and tap into the legacy media, right? Well, what should I do? Well, I should go get a new degree.
Oh,
I
yeah,
should go
go
get this
for
this
that.
other Western, right? This new diploma, this new
Yeah.
certification. I don't know how to fucking execute that. I don't know how to implement that into my success. Well, I
I
must
think you
need
almost feel
more.
like you're robbed because I remember I've got two bachelor degrees. My real education, though I did have some really good professors. I love the Socratic method when you go in, and I did have a few really good professors, but I think overall, my real education comes from the internet. Just the
100%,
research.
dude. 100%.
You
Because
don't
the
need
thing
to
is,
go get that much in debt, you know?
but here's the thing though. Would you have appreciated Sadhguru the way that you do now if you hadn't suffered all that bullshit, man?
Probably not.
Exactly. And that's the point, dude, is that
Mhm.
you needed it. And as shitty as it is, we get it, we decide the shit that we have to slodge through before we wake up.
Mhm.
Nobody else. It's us.
It's the refiner's fire.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? And that's and so if nothing else, I hope that there's other people who wear fedoras, that wear Batman scarves, that have no problem calling themselves wizards, and who literally, hey, I've got testimonials that people, other people, not just me saying that I can heal them, but other people saying that I heal them. In fact, I believe that you even said it was profound, if I
Yeah,
recall correctly.
very much so. Very
Yeah,
much.
I'm curious. I had you, if you recall, I had you sit next to Sadhguru. I never asked you what you felt, but I had you imagine like you were sitting next to him and just absorb his stillness. I remember the conversation. I remember the meditation we took you through. Um, do you, if you don't mind sharing at all, if you were to put yourself in that place again, even though words really can't quite capture that feeling, like if you were to try to put that into words, what would you call that, or how would you describe it?
Being in his presence, sitting in his presence.
Yeah, just the way that meditation, how you could literally just put yourself next to him. You could just, in the same that we're in a hologram, man. You could just project yourself right next to him because you have that connection to him. Because you're not inauthentic. He's not inauthentic. You're both authentic to each other.
Yeah. First word that comes into my head would be just serene.
Mm.
Um, just peace. I mean, I almost get emotional just thinking about what he's just, and I haven't really even been initiated yet into his, into his Kriya yoga yet, his Shambhavi Mudra, but just so far from, what I've read and what I've researched and how he's helped me thus far. And he's
That's
already,
all that matters, man.
I do
What?
feel like I have a relationship with him, even though I've physically
Yeah,
never met him. He's just one of those people that I think if you open up yourself to it, that it can be really, really profound. And
dude, I've never shook Ed Stracher's hand. I've never hugged him, even though I'd like to. Never
yeah,
slapped him, though I'm sure he'd like to slap me a couple of times. But yeah, man, the energy doesn't need physical presence, though, right? We can get lonely, right? It's good to have friends. It's good to be able to go and pal around with people.
it is. I mean, the thing is just learning to be comfortable with yourself.
Yep.
And I think one thing that Sadhguru said about relationships that really is just beautiful when you sit back and think about it. He says, if a relationship is a partnership, it could be the best thing in the world, best thing in the world. But if your relationship is based on something that you need, that they're serving you, if that's how you view it, then it's going to just cause some ugliness
Yep.
eventually.
Yep.
It is. I mean, if you think about it, I've seen sometimes, being single myself, there are moments sometimes where, yeah, I'll admit, I do feel lonely sometimes, but then I think back and I'm like, well, some of the loneliest people I know are my friends who are in relationships.
Who sleep next to somebody every night.
And it's worse because for some other reason, they've either fallen out of love or they're only there for whatever reason, and they're torturing themselves.
And so that's actually interesting you bring that up, because I'm now at a place where I when I was a kid, I used to believe in soulmates in the sense of like, hey, there's somebody I could fall in love with to the depths of my very being. And then I allowed cynicism and the world to, smear shit in my face. They'd be like, fuck that. But I'm back at a place like, oh, well, let's assume that that's real. Well, what do I have to offer to that person? How about I discover that first before I dare ask somebody else to give that to me?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I mean, so many people are like, hey, what can you give me?
Yeah.
Right. This master and slave.
Or you get into like the whole high maintenance too, where it's, they just constantly want to be entertained. And that's one thing I see so much is just, especially with, and I'm sure it's always been.
But that's also the guy who probably just wants to fix things rather than actually have something, right? Because he can't deal with his own problems. He's got to fix somebody else's, and so it works for him. But then again, just like you said, that if it's this destructive kind of master slave thing, well, it's going to cause a lot of problems later on. And the deeper you go, man, the deeper those problems get.
They do. And you just see, like, especially when things are just based on so much materialism too. There's nothing else. You married your trophy wife, you've married your trophy husband.
Huh. Well, and what are the kids supposed to come from that? Like, what are they supposed to make of that? Like, oh, I'm supposed to get a Ferrari. Like, fuck everyone. Everyone else can eat a dick, but I got a Ferrari, bro. Right. And so, yeah, man, I've come to a place where I was bowling with my kid yesterday, and he was so mad at me because he didn't want to fucking go. But it's like, you know what, dude? I do so much for you. You're gonna do something that I want to do. And he was so mad, but I created the environment for him just to let it out. I didn't beat him up for it. I didn't tell him, Matt, look at you. Look at everything I do. I just, look, man, this is just how it's gonna be. I just gave him the love that he needed. By the fifth frame of that first game, dude, I felt my heart just swell. I could feel it, man. I could feel he just let go of all that shit, and that connection came back. And then he slaughtered me in the score, dude. I mean, he had bumpers, but still, man, like, dude, this kid was like pinballing this shit. Like, he was just like bouncing it off and just like one game he got like 7 spares. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what? See, and I told him, man, like, look, would this have happened if you hadn't just been there? And so some of the most magical things that happen, dude, is just because we love each other, man. And that's it. And that's really what I try to teach him.
How old is your son?
10.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So he ended up, I'm for sure, enjoying that a lot more.
Oh, dude, he fucking loved it, man. He fucking loved it, because then he can be like, you remember that time I fucking he mentioned like 8 times, like, dude, I mopped the floor with you, bro. Like, I can't. Hey, don't touch me. You got germs, right? Because I mopped the floor with you. Oh, it's so funny. And there was even a time where, at the end of last year, and we can maybe tailor this conversation to an end here pretty soon, because I gotta pee like mad. But towards the end of the year, I think it was the second to last day, there was a carnival, and he showed up with just a fistful of money. So he got all these tickets and stuff. He told me, hey, there was a kid there. I didn't ask him. He just told me that there was a kid there he didn't even like. I didn't admonish him like, oh, you don't like somebody in your class? They didn't really like him, but I saw he didn't have anything. So I went and gave him some tickets so he could get something. It's like, dude, are you fucking kidding me, man? Dude, Western education would be like, dude, what an idiot. You should have kept your money. Yeah, and you make sure you get an A. I told him, like, look, dude, if you can get away with C's for the rest of your life, give me more of that, man. Because that's the point of life. That's the point of life.
Yeah, exactly. Don't sell yourself short.
Well, not only that, but put a smile on somebody else's face because you've got more, man. Don't let your abundance turn into a grotesque, just gluttonous, right? Share the wealth, man. I mean, that's the Tao is all about the excess curves in, and that that which doesn't have enough will also curves from the top, right? And that's that mathematical heart curve. That's how we feed into itself, so that the excess doesn't become so engorged that there's Pato Island, right? That then runs fucking governments for all I fucking know, man. Yeah, because I mean Jeffrey Epstein, who didn't kill himself, right? I mean, we'll never know, right? Because Ghislaine Maxwell will never hear about her client list. But you know what?
This is a very
I'm pretty sure Lindsay Lohan probably crashed into another tree, and that's what's most important that we should talk about.
That's actually a little bit on that Epstein. Maybe this would be a great topic for another, because I've been egging. I really want to get into conspiracy theories and stuff like that.
If you want to go hardcore conspiracy theory, then let's do that. Let's do that for another episode. But I've got no problem there. I can cue that up. I already kind of queued that up with, again, so this is right up your alley if you're a conspiracy theory. Again, what is the name of the computer program that the FDA employs? Right, that gave out the COVID patent number. Two, what is the COVID patent number? Right, never mind the fact that it's 2020, because people will be like, well, this has 2020. Well, that's not the number. Well, because it's the fucking year, man. What is the patent number? And then what is it that all the conspiracy theorists have always been telling us about? We're gonna get marked somehow.
Yeah, I think the term, the negative connotation conspiracy theorist, is itself a psyop. And it's interesting that it
100%.
It started turning into a negative turn after the Kennedy assassination.
Oh, of course, because we need you to know what officially happened. And if you don't know what officially happened, you're either going to wind up like him, or you're going to wind up like Alex Jones.
Exactly. And that's probably where it marked the beginning of our decline of our democracy, was with his assassination. We see it, they say the last 40 years since Reagan's rise and all of that. But I think the deep state and all of that kind of stuff really sees.
But it was Eisenhower. Dude, Eisenhower came out and he fucking warned us, man.
That was the last thing. And then sure enough, the next president.
Because he saw that, exactly. And so the next president said, we need to make the world safe for democracy.
Kind of like Dr. Frankenstein, because Eisenhower is one of the ones that helped really escalate, the military industrial complex, until he realized, holy shit.
Yep.
It really is a threat.
What the fuck did I just create? Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. Awesome, man. I think that would be a perfect place to stop. And then, we should have, let's have a conspiracy tinfoil hat. Maybe I can change out my hat for a tinfoil hat, and we can go like full, like Joe Rogan meets, Duncan Trussell, and we can just kind of dress up in our. I
love talking about, because there's so much. I mean, there's so much there to do, because the conspiracy theories. I mean, hell, Julius Caesar died by a freaking conspiracy.
Yeah.
That's not something typical. That actually really happened.
Dude, we still call it a Caesar salad, right? And the shit that he does, like the stuff that he does, like, and we just like, hey, don't you know that normal people have Caesar salads? Oh, this guy had like salad eating out of his asshole, or just like whatever the fuck. He's like, and so it's, dude, there's so much bizarre stuff.
People of power don't collude with one another. I mean, what's the mafia? That's all conspiracy, right?
Bro, 100%. Yeah, because the thing is if you see how the currents actually move, well, then you either better be a player or get taken out of the game for one way. And the thing is it's much easier. It's much easier to have people see you as a tinfoil hat than to murder you, because there's a lot of money involved with police investigations and having to cover that up. But if you're just an idiot, right, on social media, well, hey, right, but it's much harder now, because again, change yourself, you change the world. Well, the more that you raise yourself to a higher vibration, well, the more that you bring those vibrations where you go. And when you're there, man, it shoves those lower vibrations away, and allows those higher vibrations to manifest even more.
Yeah. And I wonder in the social media realm, it's another thing too, because it keeps people down because you turn on any chat. Sometimes the most benign statement you want to make, and then somebody turns it into an argument. And yeah, it's one
On
thing.
purpose, man. Because we're all rattled, dude. It's all a psyop, man. This is why we're supposed to be so confused, because we're supposed to argue over meaningless bullshit that doesn't help, but actually hurts everything. Why? Because it destroys us spiritually. And our spiritual power is actually where all of our magnificence, actually lies, man.
That's true. That's true. That's very true.
But, well, hey, man, I've really enjoyed this conversation. This is fucking awesome. I didn't expect this to go anywhere. Like, I didn't really know how, episode 1 would go. I knew that I really liked the way that you thought, the way that you think. I
We're very
love that.
like-minded. I've always known that. So
Yeah. Well, and I felt that, right? We really connected like with Tulsi Gabbard, right? And we were just kind of shooting the shit for like an hour. So yeah, man. That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's been an absolute pleasure.
Dude, awesome. And so tinfoil hat Wednesday.
Oh, I'm down. I love to. I've been doing a lot of, because I've been doing a lot of I'm reading actually the best book right now on the Kennedy assassination, Unspeakable. It's really, really good.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. But yeah, let's get into that. Let's get into that next week. Sound good? Awesome, buddy. Fucking love you, man. You take care.
Love you back. Thanks again, Josh.
Of course, dude.